Hi, I'm Kelly.
And hi, I'm Geoff.
And this is Blueprints
Recording
for
in
Belonging,
progress.
where we're exploring how to build conscious connection in a disconnected world.
Because belonging doesn't happen by accident, it
Nope.
happens by design. Hey, everybody. Kelly, say
Hey.
hi.
I can say hi. Hello.
Yeah. Today, we start our interview process. So that we have our first interview today, and the gentleman we're talking to is named Brenen Blair. He's the creator of Ligaré Gatherings. And I'm very excited about this because this is a new branching out for us. So, with that said, welcome, Brenen.
Hi, Geoff. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for having me
Hello.
here.
Yes, we're welcome.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you. So, we're going to start with some foundational understanding for everybody. So, because a lot of people listening to this probably don't know what Ligaré Gatherings is. So, what is Ligaré Gatherings?
Ligaré Gatherings is a community and a business, somewhere in between those, that I am in the process of starting and growing. And what we do is we host fancy board game nights, or as I like to say, we help strangers connect and form community over the shared ritual of board games.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. Um,
I have a question.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it demands a lot more
I
explanation.
know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know what Ligaré means.
Oh, well, that's not a foundational understanding. That's a deeper cut.
I know.
Ligare is the Latin word for to bind.
Or to
It,
belong.
well, no, really, to
Okay.
bind, like
Okay.
cords or ligaments, right? Ligaments lead all
Got it. Okay.
same Latin root, right?
Okay.
It's also believed to be the root of the word religion, and so
Ah.
the idea is to imply a little bit of uh, an
Connection.
organization or a community, yeah, that's focused on connection and
Yeah.
helping you bind with other people.
Oh, good.
And I think it's implicit in the
Perfect
name.
name. Right.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I talk about what we're doing, and people often hear board game as the
Uh-huh.
anchor point, and maybe that's what people experience. But actually, most of my guests and my customers tell me, no, it's really more about the connections that we form with people, right? I tell people we're a connection company, and the board games are a foundation or a structure or a scaffold that we use to make that more possible for people. It's really the Ligari is the name and purpose.
Right. Well, in case in point, so I went to a Ligaré circle the other night, which is 4 or 5 people around a table having dinner. But there's also a game involved. And at my table of 3, I was the lead, and I suggested to the table that maybe we don't even pull the game out. Maybe we just, because we were already connecting, and so let's just talk all night. And so they both agreed, and I'm like, cool, okay. So we never even pulled our game out. Because, yes, it is a vehicle by which you can grow, community, but so is just talking. So we didn't feel the need for it because we were going to talk over dinner instead,
Good.
Yeah.
I do a lot with board game. I mean, I can explain the system more, right? But we choose the games very intentionally. We pick things that will work well at a restaurant, that are easy to learn and have some strategy, but also have some interpersonal connection. And then we write cards and questions that people open throughout the game to have pretty meaningful conversations as they go. And then there's a huge personalization layer on top of that. So our guests take what I call a connection profile, where they tell us about who they are, their personality, their interests, and we use that to pair people together at the best tables we can possibly make for people that you probably have something in common with or will get along with. We also use that to write customized letters. We give you a connection profile type, but it's all kind of like structure to put meaning around or to put people in the right mindset for sitting down and actually connecting with other people. So I'll elaborate on Jeff's story, which is I was there at the restaurant. We had 3 tables that night, and 2 of them did open the game at different paces, and Jeff's did not. And I started my career in I was a high school teacher, and so I have a big lesson planner in my brain. I'm over kind of at the bar, I'm eating my salad, and I'm watching, and I had to stop myself. I do this a lot at our gatherings where I want to go help a table kind of move forward through the game, and I have to remind myself the connection is the point, and they're going to do it how they're going to do it. And when I did go and talk to Jeff's table, they said we don't need the game, we are the game. And as I was reflecting, I realized the games are there as a backdrop, and many tables come and they love the game, or people have come because they're interested in the game, and they have a great time. But a table that doesn't open the box and play the board games is actually a table where they've decided we're fine talking and connecting for 2 hours and we don't need an assist at all. And so that's actually the most successful table, even though it might look like the reverse.
So good. So play in that sense is just a connection route to,
Yeah.
I mean, a vehicle to get to connection.
Yeah, I mean, I believe we're going to get into all of this, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
really believe we all need more connection in our life. And
Absolutely.
sometimes I say that, and I think people hear, oh, so I'll come and I'll buy one ticket and then I'll make my new best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love for that to happen to you. But I actually mean you need to get out of the house and be around people and be in community. And it needs to be repeat. And
Mm-hmm.
you might not make your best friend, but just being around other humanity and hearing someone's life is really valuable. And there are other companies and startups, and they're advertising like crazy on Instagram, trying to sell you dinner with strangers. And people tell me they love that the game is there, not because they need to play the game, but because people need something to do together to form that connection, right? They need something not
Hmm.
just that takes the edge off, but that gives them a way to see and interact and play with each other. And if you just kind of stick people together as strangers for dinner, it will work sometimes. But I find most people are more comfortable if they have something to kind of turn to and reflect each other off of.
So you said you were a teacher at one point, and but what drove you to create this business? This.
Um, I mean, there's so many answers to that. So my career is a couple of years in public education. I moved to
Mhm.
Houston to teach in America, and then I left and I got my MBA, and I worked for a large consulting firm for about 10 years. And I mostly worked on organizational design and like workshops with executives on how do they want to run their company and how do they want to organize it and who will make what decisions. So I've kind of always been facilitating events that have an emotional component, right? The high school
Mhm.
class for a workshop for executives. I
Right.
used to joke and still do that they're not that different. And so there are a few things that drove me to this. I mean, one, my life went through some pretty significant changes last year. I changes on the personal front, and through that, realizing I really did not want to be a partner in a consulting firm. It just was not where I was headed. And I love games. I love play. I mean, I love board
Mhm.
games as we do, but I do video games, and I spent some time in the Pokemon competitive trading card scene. And I kept leaving that being like, I feel I have a community. I have a third place that I come to. These people aren't my best friends. They're not going to replace my family, but I'm still here every week and I know these people. And it's such a kind of exclusive environment where you need to be really deep in a particular nerd culture. And I just kept thinking, how do I take what's great about a trading card game shop and maybe
Mhm.
some of my skills around classrooms and workshops and facilitation and connection and make something that is accessible to more people? Um, and yeah, so the rest is kind of history from there.
Wow.
And how long have you been doing this?
I registered the business and really started working on it in earnest in about October of last year, or at about a
Oh,
year.
wonderful.
I went full time on it in April, which was a big leap of faith, but it was also just time for a change in my life. And so, we're recording this on October 6th. So I'm, approximately 6 months into being full time on this.
Hmm. So you said you think we all need community. Is that kind of the same way of belonging? Is it kind of we all need to find a space to belong to?
I'm pausing to think about that, right? Because these are all words that you could define in
Hmm.
various ways,
Okay.
right? Or I'll work into this backwards. I
Okay.
don't know if I'll say exactly what you would say.
Well,
Of
let me
course,
just
it's
ask you this way. Kind of what does it mean to you personally to belonging when you think of
yeah.
belonging?
Well, I think so. Maybe to give away a little bit too much of the story, right? But I
Hmm.
mean, I grew up in Western Kentucky and was
Hmm.
active in a non-denominational, but definitely evangelical church. And my
Hmm.
life has shifted a little bit since then. But I have such fond memories of growing up in both. I had an extended family that would get together
Hmm.
for holidays, and that's not so much a part of my life, or really a lot of the people around me's life anymore. And
Hmm.
then there's the church piece of it, where there was somewhere I went 3 times a week, where I was around the same people, and they were family. And then there was church camp, and we go on a trip together. And
Hmm.
it's not that everyone there was my best friend, or I could call on them in anything, but there's the continuity to knowing you're going to be in the same place and you have something in common.
Hmm.
And I there are exceptions to this. I mean, I know people who are obviously very religious today or involved in a spiritual community. I know people who get that through AA. I know people who get that through hobby groups. But I think the vast majority of people I know, and particularly working professionals, don't have a kind of conscience community that they're a part of that meets regularly, where they feel like they're a part of something bigger and they might meet new people, but they're surrounded by people with whom they have something in common and some sense of social safety and ability to open up.
Hmm.
Now, I think I'm defining more community, right? When you say belonging, I go to kind of the 7 to 8 people in my life who I know I can call on, who I know I can get together with when I need it, who are a little bit closer to that. But I think the best pathway to belonging is to start with community and broader connection and sense of shared humanity.
Good. Good.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. Um, how do Ligaré gatherings create spaces where people feel truly seen and heard? And that is actually what I really like about it, is that it does
Well,
exactly that.
so I want to beat the interview process here. I mean, I will answer the question, but Jeff, you've been to, I mean, 3 or 4 at
I
this
know it
point.
sounds like you're ready to answer that one.
So yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I actually would love to hear your answer to how do we do that.
Okay. Well turned back on me. Um, well, so he mentioned the cards that they give with questions, and I've been to enough of them now that I'm beginning to see some of the similar questions. But and so when you open one of these cards and you read the question out, everybody answers it before you continue with the game, and or whatever you're doing. Um, and they're prying questions.
Like what?
They're gentle, but they are prying. So
You don't have to give them all away, but
right,
just
right.
one.
Tell us about something that changed your life forever.
Oh, okay.
I mean, well, how often does that come up in conversation, right? So it does at these things, and it really does dive deep. You get some really soulful answers, you get some flippant answers, and that's just dependent on the person. Yeah, and I love it as a social experiment. It is fascinating. Um, yeah,
So
and that's why you're our first interviewee.
yeah, I'm happy to go with fascinating. I also, I mean, I want it to be an active community and something that people come to as a ritual and regularly. I also want it to eventually be sustainable as a business for me and hopefully a team. But I also love it as a social experiment. And sometimes guests will joke with me about like, well, I don't know if they're joking. They're like, "Are you really? Or do you have a grant from NASA? Are you running a social experiment on it?" So the question was, how do we create spaces where people feel seen and heard? And I think one of the things I've learned that I think I knew implicitly, but I couldn't say out loud when I started hosting these, is that you create the space. I mean, I would say it's 80% in the prep work. It's actually 20% of what happens, or at least what I do in the room when people show up, right? And so we are a startup. I'm learning things every day. If somebody's listening to this and you go look at our website, you're welcome to disagree with this and send me feedback. But I put a lot of care into what is the brand and what is the voice of the brand and what does it appear that we're offering to people. And therefore, I find that people show up who want the kind of connection and space that we're creating, and they show up in the mood to engage in it. So a lot goes into how we prepare you for that. I mean, there's emails that go out 3 days before and one day before that give you things to think about in advance. Just the things that we put on social media and the way we talk about what we're doing, I find really does the work of the humans who show up in the room are ready to connect in an authentic way and be open to others, including people they might not ordinarily sit down and share a meal or share a board game with. And so I think a lot of it is in preparation. Um, I have been tremendously influenced by the book The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker. And she talks a little bit, she talks about many things that are important to me, but one of them is kind of helping people transport into this magic world and cross the threshold. So some of that is in the pre work, some of that is when people arrive. It's in the welcome and how we greet them. It's kind of intentionally that I make you get out of your comfort zone when you arrive. So we have one gathering where everyone gets a secret animal nickname, which I've printed on a label maker. I make you turn around and I put it on your back. And we always have a chalkboard with an interesting and kind of thoughtful prompt that we make you sign. I did an event for a law firm last week, and I made them write, "What's one thing in life that you're glad you said yes to?" Um, our name tags have a spot for your name, but they also have a spot for ask me about. And so I love to watch guests, especially guests who have never been before, pause and be like, I mean, they make a face sometimes like, "Oh, I have to do that to get in the room." And
Right.
and the answer is yes, but it's the discomfort is part of putting people in a mindset where they go, "Okay, wait, I remember this. I did this when I was 15 at sleepaway camp." Like you put them in the mindset of, "Oh, right, this is what it means to take my adult professional mask off and be in a room where I'm just getting to know other humans." And then
Right.
from there, the games and the cards melt people, but you've already done the work when you set the room up with the right mindset.
Um, well, that kind of actually speaks a little bit to this next question, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it anyway in case there's anything else. So, what barriers to connection do you see most often in today's world, and how does your workshop help to bridge those divides?
Oh, there's so many answers to that question. I mean, we're all living through them. It's a tricky question to answer because I think everybody has a different favorite pet answer. I will say this: when I talk about what I'm working on with guests, with friends, with business colleagues, with my dentist, I mean, everybody goes, "Oh my gosh, that is what the world needs. You should keep doing that," which is tremendously fulfilling and helps with the energy to keep going. But it's shocking how much everybody sees this, and I think they have different vantage points into it
Mm-hmm.
or reasons that they say that. So, I mean, I will talk about phone use and technology addiction and a culture of swiping and sending messages. We have guests put their phones in these boxes on the table. The board games come out, the phones go away.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one we all know. I think people are very aware of it, but it's a superficial one, right? I think the one of the bigger ones is that we are kind of primed by the capitalist and consumer society that we live in to always be wearing our mask of what I have to offer someone else, what can they offer me, what's my professional identity, and by design, the profile that you take that we use to do pairing asks you many things. It does not ask you your profession. None of our questions have any. You might choose to answer with something that's work related, but none of the questions we put on our spark cards that you answer in the game have anything to do with what you do professionally. We're really working to get people out of that space and into more of a what are you focused on in life? What are you building? Where are you going? What were the pivot points for you? What are you willing to share with these people and receive back?
So really focusing on the clarity of their direction for their life, kind of where they, kind of what they're working on, kind of being really clear who they're bringing along with them.
I
Um,
think so.
yeah.
Jeff said it's interesting to hear Jeff talk about how revealing the questions are. They are, and I do
Mm-hmm.
get feedback on that. And
Mm-hmm.
again, we're growing and we're learning. I always want them to have some meaning behind them. I do sometimes think maybe I should take the edge off. And as we've developed more and more of them, we get better at making the ramp better, right? It's a little bit less disclosure at the beginning and a little bit more at the end.
Right.
But yeah, they have. I like questions that elicit people to tell the story of their life in the way that you don't normally tell when you just meet someone at a networking event.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that's exactly it, you did it because that's exactly what happens.
Now
Uh,
I have to go to one.
yeah.
I have another group that I go with, but it's a lot of us old ladies. We just old ladies get together and we play Ruby Cube,
So
or
I have
we.
several.
Pardon me.
Go ahead. No, continue.
No, we get together on Friday nights, and we've been doing it now for about 3 or 4 years. And it's just all us old ladies that get together, and we just play Ruby Cube. And we were at different places, and now we're at the Dish Society over on Holcomb, I think it is.
Oh, did that move to Holcomb?
Yeah, it moved to Holcomb.
Yeah, it used to be on Yale, I
Yeah,
thought. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
No,
so
it is on Yale. There's one on
Oh.
Yale, but there's also one
Oh,
on
okay.
Holcomb. Yeah. But
Rummy Cube
anyway,
is a fantastic game, which
oh, it's a
I
fun game, but it's not about playing the game. It's about connecting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
there you
And
just said it, which people
yeah,
know when they sit down to play a board game, but I think when they think about it, they don't always
yeah,
make that direct connection.
yeah.
One of the things that we do, which I'm still working to get up and running as well as I want, but Jeff has joined a lot of our what I call gatherings, our larger events, which tend to be about 30 people. Right now, we always do those with Camerata, which is a fantastic wine bar on Westheimer, connected to
Mm-hmm.
and owned by Polly's. But I have this other format, which is circles, and those are designed to be dinners that are a little bit shorter. The games are a little bit lighter. And what's beautiful about the circles is, I mean, restaurants are thrilled to host them. I
Mm-hmm.
pretty much every restaurant I've talked to, I tell them this is what I want to do, and I'd like a reservation for 20. And if I don't fill it, I'll call you and we'll change it. And they go, that's great, and you're going to promote us. So they're
Mm.
very easy for me to create a lot of, and I've probably created more than I should have faster than kind of my customer or guest base. Right. But because they're easy to create and because I have this profile data, I can make them for different groups of people. So I've experimented with having them for, Gen Z readers and for people of color, or I did single people of color specifically, and I'll take feedback on that one. I'm working on what's the right way to get these, but we can do them for interest groups or hobbies. So that's a long way to get into, Kelly. We have done them for 50 plus and single. And I've gotten tremendous feedback that people who are over the age of 50, I mean, they email me. It's the cohort of guests who I get the most contact from who say, "Can you do that more? We want more of that." And that's been my most successful circle to date. And I think there's a huge volume of people who are, I'll say 50 and up. We could draw the age mark at different places, but who remember a world where you connected non-digitally, and they're lacking for ways to do that, and they're in a stage of life where they need it.
Hmm.
And I think Ligaré has really connected with a lot of people in that group, and so I'd be thrilled to entertain your ladies to play Rummikub,
That'd be
and we
wonderful.
are
That'd be
perfect for that.
wonderful. Well, we just let you know we don't necessarily play by the rules. We kind of help each other out. We don't. There's nobody that wins. We just okay.
Right,
Yay, you
because
won!
it's truly a gathering
It's a
circle.
gathering circle, right? There's nobody
Well,
that's gonna
but
win.
it goes back to, for me, and I have
Uh-huh.
people I've worked with who know more about board games than I do, who have
Uh-huh.
helped me design some of these formats and pick
Hmm.
games good for that I might not have found. And we get into the rules and how we're going to teach the rules. And I've had to learn it's not about the game, it's not about the rules. So we'll
Right.
modify the rules, very slightly. We play a game called No Thanks. Everyone's supposed to start with 11 chips. We start them with 10. And I have to tell the people who help me design the formats and the designs and the rules teaches it's okay. Like, we can cut the most detailed rules out. That's not what people are here
We're
for.
there to be
Right.
connected with each other. The
Right.
rules are
Right.
just we're not when we're
Yeah,
coming
the simpler the
together.
rules, the better,
Right, when
actually.
we're coming together for connection, to me the win lose type of atmosphere is probably not one that we want to use for connection
Hmm.
Yeah.
because
I
then
mean,
we put somebody in a power over somebody else. So,
the games are a
mhm.
prop, and it's
Mhm.
interesting to kind of watch the guests slowly figure
Mhm.
that out too. We
Mhm.
have, of course, guests who love board games, who are
Oh yeah,
competitive,
I do
and I
too.
watch them have to kind of go through the, like, oh yeah, that's not all I'm doing here.
Our family during the beginning of COVID, we that's all we did. We just did nothing but board games. And I can't even think of all the names of the games that we had, but I think
Hmm.
we have one that where we you have to guess what all of these anyway, I can't think of the name of it right at the moment, but I'll tell you later. But it's a fun game. Oh, I can't think of it. It's
Yeah, she's really
I'm
trying.
really trying. But they're fun things to do like that to have with other people to find some way to play. And play is so important for us as adults because it helps us. We usually pay to go play or pay other people to play for us. We don't usually get to go play ourselves. So having this way to go play with other people is really important.
Hmm. Yeah, well, and it's about meeting new people,
Hmm.
and so and that really works. So, question number 7: Can you share a story of a time when someone walked away from a gathering feeling transformed or more connected? And you can't use me.
Yeah, it's a hard one to answer because I have to isolate it to one in a way to answer it, and of course I don't want to give too many
No,
specific
no, I don't
details.
give a detail.
Hmm.
Any
So,
particular guest, right? But I see it all the time. That to me is actually the thing that's most beautiful, is, as I've described you, there's a lot that goes into creating the event in the space that feels right. And then it's like a wind up machine. I get to stand there and watch it. And so my experience is kind of, I mean, I'm playing restaurant host a little bit, right? I'm watching every table and being like, are they happy? Are they happy? Should I swoop in? And almost always the answer is they are happy and I should not swoop in. And so my experience is one of getting to see the whole room, and they come in with their kind of game faced, professional shoulders on, and you watch them melt through the night. And so,
mhm.
without telling a specific story, I mean, I've had many guests come to me and say, I keep coming back because every time I come, I leave with phone numbers and new connections and people I actually want to talk to again. I do have a post survey where people can write people they wanted to connect with, and so I'll kind of send matchmaker notes if that can be mutual, and I've sent some of those that have been very successful. I have plenty of repeat guests, and one in particular that really touched me is I have someone who is one of my most frequent guests, and I had another, actually the one I was just talking about, for 50 plus and single, and the first woman who was there was new, and I'd noticed in my data that she was 69 on the day I was preparing, and I did the printouts in my kind of system now said she was 70, which I was like, did I do a double take? And I met her, and it was her 70th birthday, and she had come to a Ligare event, and she said, "Oh, my daughter has been coming and loves them, and we trade off who watches the kids, but she wanted me to come to this for my birthday,
Oh,
which is not a story of her connection, but it's a story of the community growing and what her daughter saw. And I was so touched that she thought, this is what I want my mom to have on her birthday, is this, and a milestone birthday too, is this connection with other people. Um, but
Wow.
yeah, I mean, guests come to me and they say, this is beautiful, and I met 5 people, people I wouldn't have talked to otherwise, and I'm going to come back, and then they actually do.
Hmm.
Jeff
so
can
it's
attest to it. I think
so it's not
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it's not
I've come
just
back
in
numerous
numbers,
times.
right? But it's
Yeah.
that quality that you're fostering. So really finding ways to connect with them and finding things that are really meaningful for them, like this one, that story that you just shared.
Yeah, and I actually have a question that I'm going to ask you after all this about someone I met
Oh no.
at my table, and yeah, I can't get a hold of her. She has my number, but she will not text me, and she won't text the other person either. But she has his number, and I'm like, well, what
Well,
happened? So yeah,
difficult spot on microphone, but I have to abide by certain professional courtesies on that front.
well, right, um, yeah. Okay, how do you measure success? Not just in numbers, but in quality of human connection fostered. Ooh.
Well, I guess I'm the first interview. Do you play? Are you using these exact questions for everyone, or is that a Brennan
No, this is
specific?
No,
just for you.
this is a
Oh,
you.
great.
Yeah.
Um, it is a really tricky question, right? Because I already gave my background, and I come from a management consultant and an MBA background. So, of course, I am measuring the success in numbers, and I'm looking month to month at the number of people who sign up and give me their email, who take the connection profile, open rates on the emails that I send, and of course, ticket sales and how many people come. Um, I don't have a numeric metric on the human connection yet, and that's probably a blind spot. And some of it is there's only so many hours and so much energy in the day as a solo founder, and it's also hard to honestly to get people to keep responding to surveys. So I of course look at the surveys that I do get after an event, the 1 to 5 scale, and a variety of questions to tell me, would you come back and were you satisfied and did you feel safe and were you comfortable and did you connect with people meaningfully? But for me, a lot of what I'm looking for and the energy that keeps me going is what I've already described, which is seeing the way people melt through the evening and the way that they open up, and then seeing people come back, right? If this was transactional or just a board game night, I wouldn't see repeat customers at this stage of business. We're still very early. We're very small. I have had, I think, around 200 people who have come to events, and around 50 of them have been to more than one, which is honestly one of the numbers I'm most proud of. Is at the stage that I'm at, for 25% of people who have come to say, I will come back again, that is a measure of they got something out of the experience. And for most of them, what they got was not, I really enjoyed Settlers of Catan, though they may have really enjoyed the
Well,
board
think
game.
about it. I mean, we don't really have any other place other than church or work. So here's another way to
Correct.
be able to get out and go have fun and explore, learning different games, but also, meeting other people. What a wonderful way to connect with others. So,
Hmm.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, and that is exactly the idea.
mm-hmm.
And there's so many activities you can go spend your money and your time. I mean, I
Or you can
joined
just
a
sit at home
pickleball.
and watch TV all day and not
Right.
do
Step,
nothing.
step one is, do you stop binge watching Netflix and put the phone in Instagram
Right.
jail? But then there's all these activities you can pay to go do, and I
Right.
mean, obviously, many people authentically love playing pickleball,
Uh-huh.
but a lot of people in the pickleball league are there because of the promise or the hope of connection, and the
Mm-hmm.
activity does nothing to actually help you do that. You're kind of flipping a coin or rolling the dice, or maybe trusting your own initiative to make that happen. And so, my goal is to offer both an enjoyable activity, but to say, look, we know what you're actually after, and we're going to structure around that.
Is there a lot of
And we're
talking in pickleball?
well, I use pickleball as my go-to, right? But there's
Okay.
events and activities
Yeah.
and meetup groups.
Yeah.
But if someone's not putting thought into the design and the connection, then
Right.
you're all beholden to the natural gravity of what our society has taught us is what you go out and do in public with strangers, which is actually
Right.
not connecting right now.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
And in that, to that point, actually, the cards with the questions helps pull that out. It really does help connect you because you're telling people stories that you wouldn't normally tell them because you're answering a question on a card. and
Gives you permission.
yeah, it does. It gives you permission. So it's part of the evening, and so you're going to do it. And there's some reticence in some people, but very few. Most people are quite happy to answer the questions. And the variety you get is it's like a healing circle, in that everybody's experience gets shared, and you can take away from it whatever you want. Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing because I love healing circles. So well done. I'm going to skip number 9 because I think we've already answered that. And I'm going to go on to number 10, which is under vision and growth.
I'm not going to let you do that because 9 is such an important question.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought you already answered this, but all right. What practices or rituals have you found most powerful in helping people move from strangers to community?
So I mean, I understand. I think we have talked about a lot of it, but I love that number 9 included the word ritual, right? And it goes back to that sense of community and that we're all in this together. I mean, Ligaré is not officially a shared mindset. There's no political beliefs. There's no beliefs about the cosmology. And so, as you know, Geoff, we do think we have the question cards. I have custom candles. I had a friend who previously wholesaled candles, and she helped me make candles just for Ligaré. So I mentioned the name tags, the coming in, the chalkboard, but we start every event with the first card will have you introduce yourself to the table and reveal something. And they always say, when you're ready, light the candle on your table. So I use that, partially operationally. I can see are all the tables at the same place? Are they moving forward? But it's designed to be a ritual that you do together. And then there's the aroma, which is meant to kind of evoke sacred spaces and keep you in, I'm in Ligaré. I know what this feels like. I know what this place smells like. The name tags, the games, we deliver everything in black boxes, and the games come out and the phones go in. And we've reached a point where repeat guests will actually teach people at the tables
what to do.
I watch people sit down, and before I prompt we ask guests to put phones in boxes, I will watch guests tell people I know what goes here, and you'll see people do it. So the ritual element is really important here. That to me is part of community connection and belonging. Is you get that sense of connection to people you don't fully know yet, who aren't your best friend, because you have something shared. And in the absence of we have a unifying myth of the cosmos, I'm trying to fill some of that gap with actually the repetition of what happens at a Ligaré event, so that you begin to go, we're part of the same culture, we've been through this thing together.
Nice. Yeah.
Thank you for letting me go back to the question. I really wanted, ritual is such an important word in my mind for what we do.
Right. Okay, well, I'm really glad you got me back to go back to that, because I hadn't even thought about those things as ritual, but they are.
Well, so is a football game. It's a ritual.
Well, yeah, but
still.
But is it a community building ritual?
If it's an Aggie one.
I'm with Kelly. I mean, that's a lot of that's what people find attractive about the college football.
Right.
Is the kind of and that you can show up to the tailgating and you instantly have this connection to thousands of people because you're going through the same kind of emotional activities, experiences, and physical actions together.
Right.
Well, I know that our COVID kind of did a number on us in a bit. But how have you seen kind of your process of helping people kind of get out and about? Do people still worry about some of that, about getting out and about at all, about being around other people? Even now we're post-COVID, I mean, do they still have some people? I know I've seen some people go into restaurants and they're still using masks. So there's a lot of people that are still kind of staying masked.
I've seen none of that in my
good
20+ events so far, but the COVID in the backdrop of this is impossible to walk around, but it's both. I haven't yet been able to do the math on how is COVID propelling or not propelling this, because I think, and people would tell me this, on the one hand, we lost the tradition or the ability to get out in public. I think people are staying home more, and on the other hand, there's more hunger for it. So I experience both sides of it, where I think it's a headwind against what I'm trying to do, and it also creates the hunger and the appetite. And without naming names, I talked to a guy who runs a kind of board game event business in another state recently, and he started in 2018 and wound up kind of moving into more private events and corporate and digital because of COVID and the timing. And I, in a way, am fortunate that I came to this post-COVID because there's a different kind of
Kind of
appetite
atmosphere, right?
for exactly what I'm trying to do.
Do you think you'll have an online version?
No, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
again, I said it a few times. I'm trying to be an entrepreneur and
I know.
run a
I'm just,
startup. So
yeah.
things are surprising. Like, a lot of parts of this are not what I thought they would be when I set out already, and it's been 6 months. So nothing is final, but
Okay.
I don't know how. I do dream about, sometimes I think about a version of this that I could sell, let's say, to a church in Iowa where I ship the box and a lot of the
And help
digital
them do,
components.
yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it could be shipped, but that's still hybrid. But I think the core of what I'm doing is an in-person experience. And so I've had that question, and someday my brain may decide I need to tackle it either for business reasons or access reasons or.
Well, I guess that's on your long list of where you might be
Yeah,
in
but
5 years from
it's
now.
too low on the list. I don't
Right.
want to do it. We have
Right.
so many ways to interact digitally. I'm trying to fight against that. So I would
Right.
much rather find a way to use the technology and the tools that are available to us to enhance and amplify in-person connection, which is, I mean, I think that's what I'm doing already, is building a lot of things that wouldn't have been possible pre AI and a lot of today's digital tools, but using the screens go off in the room. It's all part of the getting you there process.
Right. Yeah,
Cool.
it's very non-digital.
I know,
as far
but
as an
I'm a
event.
digital person, so I like to. I have something I call the World Family Initiative. I'm trying to get more people around the world to be more connected. So, I have a friend that's in. I met him through Facebook in another group, and it was just wonderful to meet him, and I got to talk to him and talk to him with the videos. I could hear him. I talked to his mom and dad. It was just fun to have a way to connect with somebody around the world. So he's in
Nigeria.
Nigeria, yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's just it's not an idea, but it was just
so, well, that's
helping.
obviously where Kelly's headspace is.
Yeah.
So you do this thing digitally,
Right.
but what Brennan's going to do is do it in person.
In their person, that's all right.
Because I think it speaks to his model much better. I mean,
Well, and I mean, please don't let me disparage what you're doing. I mean, I'm a very digital person, and if you look at our website, you go, okay, somebody is tech fluent who's behind this thing. Becomes apparent pretty quickly. But it's not always having the effect that we want it to, right? I mean, I took years off from social media, and as part of starting this business and going through my own life transformations, I've been back on Instagram a lot, and it's just, and as I mentioned, life transformations, dating apps. I mean, all of these things are designed to promote connection, but the actual practice of it is often disconnection. So I've had experiences like what you just described in my life, but I think, and so often at scale, these systems are working at odds with what they tell us they're doing. And that's why I want something that takes what is possible with technology. I can get a lot of people to tell me details about their personality and their hobbies and use that to stick them together at a room at the right table. But ultimately, the goal is to get humans face to face and to get the intermediation of technology out of the way once it's done its job.
Right. The goal is human connection. Right, and in that respect, it's a physical connection. It's a in the same room connection, rather. Cool. If someone could take away one message from experiencing a gathering, what would you hope it would be?
I sincerely think, no one has given me these exact words, but I sincerely think people are leaving with this, which I think you could voice it a couple different ways, but that's okay. I am connected to other people are not as scary as I think they are. I can go into public and share dinner with someone and share my life, and it's okay to do that and to receive that and to see where it goes. I want people to leave, maybe not with a message, but with a feeling of connection and being a part of the human story and genuine interest in other people, and that they actually leave with a perception of it is valuable for me to spend a night doing this and connecting with other people, regardless of the outcome.
Good answer. Okay, so then we only have two more questions, and we're about 40 minutes into this, so that's about right. What has this work taught you about yourself and your own sense of belonging?
So I mean, so many things, and we're still learning. It's tempting to go down professional answers of like how to pace myself and to live with ambiguity and how to build an ecosystem and to rely on others and not just to build structures. But what does it teach me about belonging and people? I mean, this feels self-evident. It feels not surprising in retrospect, but you start something like this and you don't know who's going to show up to the room, right? I mean, my first one, I managed to fill the room with about 30 people, and about half were my friends, and about half were,
Wow.
as I say, internet strangers. But I ran ads on Meta, and people found me and came
Wow.
to this.
Mm-hmm.
And then the percentage of that shifted, right? Now I don't pester my friends anymore. It's all really people who have come to Ligaré through Ligaré. And I don't get to hear every story they play out at the tables, and I try to not be involved. But I do mingle and I meet people and I get to know the guests, and I've looked at the data in advance. And I leave with this sense of like, everyone is so beautiful. I mean, sometimes I look at the room and I'm like, how is this going to go? Did I match that table right? Are these the right people together? And I just consistently see people open up and humans kind of doing magic at the tables and telling stories. And everybody I talk to has something so interesting in their background that they want to share. And so, as much as I can sit here and say the things I said in this interview about you should come and sit at the tables and do that, I have the same experience of leaving and being like, oh, wow, people are great. I should be more open to this in my day to day life. Look at this beauty that was in this room from this somewhat random collection of people that found this thing.
Yep. Oh, you said it. I mean, people are way more fascinating and interesting than we generally give them credit for.
Well, or than our
You know,
spaces allow to come out day to day, right? We're brushing past each other in ways that we don't get to examine that.
well, we've
Well, we're
disconnected
masked.
ourselves so
Yeah.
much
We
from
mask it all
everybody.
up. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we just don't have time for strangers. But you've made time for strangers in what you've created, and I think
Hey.
that's beautiful.
That's a pretty good statement.
Oh, okay. Well,
Ligaré makes time for
strangers.
strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ligaré gatherings make time for strangers. Mm. So, how do you stay connected to that vision even when it feels challenging?
I mean, the best connection for me, first, it is challenging.
Oh, I know it is.
Oh gosh, it's so challenging, right? And it's so challenging to grow something. I mean, this is a business and a startup, and it's also a community, and in
Hmm.
some ways, it's very small, kind of baby message, and it's gosh, it's a network, right? I mean, I rely on the restaurants and the guests and people who help me write the
Hmm.
format, the cards that we're going to do, and so it is really challenging to build something like this because of network effects, right? If I can't create a full table at a circle, I need to cancel it because people are paying for that connection. And so
Hmm.
anyway, I could go on and on about why it's challenging. What keeps me connected to the vision is the experiences that I have. And, at a minimum so far, I get them once or twice a month where I get a room with 15 or more people who don't know each other and I get to watch the magic happen. And it's a bit of a, I think anybody who's been an entrepreneur will tell you it's the roller coaster ride. You have to
Yes.
keep the faith and you have your days that you're up and your days that you're down. Anytime I can get 15 people to a room together to do a Ligaré gathering, I leave completely recharged because I look at it and I know like I am onto something. I'll call it my calling, but I'm onto something that I should keep doing. When I see it, when it happens in the flesh, it works, and everybody comes to me and says, "This is amazing. Do you run that? Where did this come from?" Like, so yeah, the way I stay connected to the vision is I have the gatherings. I watch humans do the human thing, and it's beautiful. And I remember like I should keep doing this, and it's going to grow, and it's going to work, and we're going to be fine.
Awesome. So the gatherings actually give you the energy to soldier
Yeah, which
past the challenging parts.
is the beautiful part of doing something human and connecting, and that feels aligned with purpose and values and meaning. The
Right?
work itself delivers the energy.
Yeah, I think I dare say that, yeah, I think this is your calling. And it's a beautiful calling. Well, all of the callings that are out there, the most beautiful ones are the ones that we choose to help others. And, we're doing that in our own way. You're doing that in your way. And that's just it. Everybody does it in their own way. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And all together we can make it work.
I This is probably a diversion. This is not really about Ligaria, but I had a professor in business school who I loved tremendously. Her name is Amy Rezneski. It's a Polish spelling. It starts with a W if you want to go look her up. And I believe she's still at the Yale School of Management, but she has a really famous paper about people's orientation to work, about jobs and careers and callings. And what her research found was basically that it's not about the actual profession that you do. And she interviewed people in a hospital, and she found many janitorial staff who have a calling orientation to their work, which means they see it as something they do in service of other people, and they're able to make meaning out of why it's important for the hospital beds to be clean and the floors to be mopped. And so just to underscore what you said, Geoff, I mean, I think we can all have a calling, but it becomes a calling because you're doing it with an understanding of what it delivers to other people and why you're connected through it.
In service to others. Yeah, exactly. Well, this was a great interview. I am so glad you broke the seal for us, as it were.
There's no seal to break. All you have to do is put a microphone in front of me and ask questions. So we did it. But thank you for having me. This was
Don't go away though. After
don't go away, because I still want to talk to you.
Yes, he has to have his answer.
All right, so we're gonna cancel out, and we're gonna do the outro.
Thanks for listening to Blueprints for Belonging. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, leave a 5-star rating for us, and share it with a friend.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Your support helps us keep building conscious connection in this disconnected world.